Hi, I'm Bob Sodaro, and I'm here to interview Onrie and
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin, right, that's Kevin. About making the 1600 book challenge. Tell me what that is first.
So, basically, a couple years ago, I was really inspired by the gentleman who I asked to write the foreword to YI SOON SHIN Fallen Avenger. His name is Judd Reed, and I discovered him because he was one of the few people in the world who did this challenge called the 100-Man Fight, which was created by the mastermind of Kyokushin Karate. And his name was Masoyama, and he came up with this challenge of, fighting 100 black belts in a row. So to me, the 1500 comic book challenge is sort of like the equivalent of that in the world of comics.
You guys didn't sell out completely at the Baltimore Con last weekend. 2 cons in a row, you're crazy. But yet you came here in New York to finish the 1,500 pounds. Tell me how you did that. How did you do that?
Well, I'll take this one if you don't mind, Onrie. Baltimore was a great show, but we had some struggles there. It was a lot of different times, appearing on like a Friday show. It was a struggle, not just us, but a lot of people felt nobody was just buying comics. Nobody was helping out the Baltimore vendors, So we did sell out of a single series, though. We sold out of Warrior and Defender, and because we sold out of Warrior and Defender, that just charged us up. And so we got charged up. We were going to do the 1,500 book comic book battle in New York anyway. We figured, hey, we're in Baltimore. We're 4 hours away. Onrie stayed with me, and I drove up with him and the rest of the inventory from Baltimore. We added another couple hundred books on there. We ended up doing the 1,646 book challenge. So we made Baltimore look like it was no big deal. You know why? Because it's all about your attitude and how you just charge. You got to charge every attempt, every battle, every adversity, and just do it.
And to add to that, I think that what really allowed us to do this was the fact that we kept each other positive throughout the whole experience.
Very important.
Baltimore was a really tough show for us because of the fact that not a lot of people were buying, particularly on the first day. So we did the best we could. And when we couldn't do a complete sellout, I wasn't upset because I knew that Kevin had put all of his effort into it. And I was also really stressed out too because we're in the middle of a Kickstarter campaign, and I actually launched on the first day of Baltimore Comic-Con.
So wait, so you launched a Kickstarter in between 2 cons. Are you nuts?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess so. My thinking is this: if people see me being active, to me that says more than if I were to just sit in front of the computer and stress over it. At least I'm out here. At least I'm moving books. I'm showing people that their money is going to the right place, that it's going into the production of the book, that it's going to make sure that the quality remains high. If I work hard and people see that I work hard, then they will work hard, and that's the whole idea.
I was walking by the booth all convention, and you guys were always working hard. You were always engaging the people. You were always positive and uplifting about the book itself. And I've been to shows where the people, they stand behind the counter, they sit behind the counter, they're looking at their phones. You guys are never doing that. I don't even think you guys sit down. You're always out in front of the booth, pitching and selling. That's just amazing.
Bob, it's battle time. When you get these 4 days and that's all you get, and then you get 250,000 people worth of foot traffic, you have nothing to do but to just attack and just try and get the best story into their hands and let them know that we've got something real here.
I agree with that, and that's what we decided. That was our strategy going in, was feed off of what we've done that's great and get as much of our product into new people's hands as possible, because most of the people that are backing us on Kickstarter, they're already familiar with the series. So getting new people, that's very difficult. But we're growing our audience by doing these conventions and by keeping up the performance of the book sales. It's not just a sense of me trying to take money from people. Of course, this puts a roof over my head, and this is how I provide for my family and and for my team. But at the same time, the fact that the book is selling, it's a result of us having to work that much harder for it, because this book didn't have distribution. We don't have a publisher backing us. We're doing everything our own. This is a grassroots growth.
It's the very epitome of an independent comic.
Absolutely.
You guys are just doing this thing because you like it and you're selling really well. I mean, you keep selling out. That's great. So I got to ask, when can we expect a movie?
Well, you're going to hear it here first. Everybody's going to be hearing it here first. We're currently working on putting together a pitch for Netflix, and we're working very closely with a well-known Korean film producer on that. He's put out a ton of Korean movies. He's also done a lot of stuff in the Chinese market too, so he's got a sense of how to sell this. And we're working on our pitch right now, and we'll see what happens. We're doing really great with the series, and my focus is on the series first. I mean, I know everybody wants to see a movie.
The story needs to be complete first.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know that I'm committed to that not just me. David Anthony Kraft, my co-writer on this series, him and I, who you know, and who has been on the show on the most highly viewed episode of Onward with Onrie yet. Dak and I, we want the product to be, or the comic, the series, to prevail in its original form. That's what matters most to us. The film will come no matter what. It's just a matter of time now.
So are you talking about a film or a series that you'd like?
We'll see. Whatever they're interested in buying from us. At this point, we're just committed to finishing up the last 4 issues of our series, and obviously, the more money we raise, the better it is for us to continue with production down the road. So. We're about to be funded on Kickstarter, but it would be great if we could go beyond that.
No, I like the fact that you said you started to say product, and then you corrected yourself.
Yeah, because if Dak was here right now, he would kick my ass.
Well, no, because exactly, and a lot of the big corporations they move product, and a lot of the big publishers they need to move product. And you hear them talking about that, and this isn't about product. This is about writing a really good story.
Absolutely, that's 100%. You got it. That's exactly it. And that's why if Dak was here right now, he would have tasered me, for rocking up there. But I want to give another shout out to Dak because he's helped me with our Kickstarter campaign so much. Like him and I are always talking and always working on what we can do to reach our audience.
And I got to tell you, folks, I've totally witnessed the interaction between Onrie and the editor and the co-writer, and they don't just put together something that you can read. They scrutinize it. They go through it with the fine-tooth comb. They spend 10 hours on the phone with each other if it happens. Seriously, they do, to make sure that you guys get your best product.
Yeah, I was staying at Kevin's house for 4 days in between, Baltimore and New York, and I had like a 4 hour conversation with Dak on the phone. She's like, Jesus, that was like one of the longest conversations. And I mean, sometimes we have very long conversations because the thing about a creative business is you're not creative until you are. So it's like if I had a deadline and I had 3 days to write a Batman script, well, I'd write the best goddamn Batman script I could do. But in our case, when we see that the story can be improved by going that extra mile, how can we not do it? Because we're in command of the production process. The buck stops with us.
Absolutely. There's nobody funding us. This is us. This is Onrie and myself and the rest of his team. They grind.
Oh yeah. And Kevin's been doing this with me now for 6 years. I mean, we've been going to these shows.
Nice.
He's the sales captain. He's aside from me, there is no one who has sold as many copies of YI SOON SHIN. I mean, you've had to have sold like well over 20 or 30,000 books.
You know what, folks? It's not about the numbers. I sold something I believe in. It's the best story I've heard. It actually got me back into comics.
Really? It got you back into comics?
Yeah, I was out of comics for a good 15 years, I went ahead and I dove right into the workforce, and that's what I did. I didn't leave myself time for hobbies or anything. Getting back into reading this story, got me thinking that, hey, anything's possible, especially with you, man.
I appreciate
you do this all by yourself. You got the team that's behind you, but this is your drive.
Excellent. Thank you for telling me that.
100%, man. I believe in you, and that's why I'm here. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Oh man, my brother. I appreciate that.
Well, folks, there you have it. Next week, Onrie will be back hosting his own show, and I want to thank him for letting me be the first substitute host.
You're not a substitute host. You're a special guest host. Thank you so much, Robert.
For a second, I was feeling like Leno when Carson was doing.
Well, I really wanted the Mike Buffer entrance, but it didn't work out.
We respect it. You've been around in this industry a very long time, and you've made your mark.
Thank you very much.
You've helped us out tremendously.
Thank you so much for everything you've ever done for us.
This is just something in which I believe in. When I first read the first book, it sold me a copy, and I read it. I was like, this was amazing. I love this story. Thank you.
And you've written such great reviews for us that. I'm glad that you agreed to be a guest host for me.
Again, thank you very much. It was an honor. All
right, awesome.
There you go.
All right, folks, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, onward to victory.
Victory. Victory.